Hello everybody, in this video we talk about this really spicy commercial, and after this video you should be able to shoot something like this. This is the first shot we're looking at, and now we talk about what makes the scene look good. It's all about focusing the view of the viewer. So what do we have here? Most important part is this woman right here. The director says, this is the scene I want to capture, make it look good, support the story I want to tell. We have this goddess-like scenery, so we want to focus only on her. So how do we do that? She's in the center of the image, which helps leading the eyes to the center, because the human eye will look first at the center and then at the brightest part of the image. So what we will do next, we have this crazy spotlight from up here that gives the key light for the actor. And this is a nice example for when you have wide shots, you don't have to use soft lights. As the wider you go, you can, or you have to shoot a little bit harder with your light, because it's much more difficult to create contrast. So it's perfectly fine to use a hard light to shine on our female actor, which are most of the time used to really soft light. But it will look good. And how do we achieve this here? And it's actually pretty simple. You have to use a hinge of haze in the room. So you put your hazer up, put it on low. This is a huge room. Maybe there's an open ceiling and the haze goes everywhere. So as you can see, we only want to haze also in this area right here. Because when you shoot your haze all around the location, your contrast level drops drastically, and now it's more difficult to focus the viewer. So what I like to do is only haze in the background or in the middle ground, but not most of the time in front of the actor. This would be really bad for this scene. Well, the next thing that makes this scene three-dimensional is that we don't have light on the foreground. These actors are just there to create depth. If they wouldn't be there, the image would look flat, even with this nice light shaft, contrast lighting. That's not enough. We want the full three-dimensional feeling. That's the reason you always put someone in the foreground, but don't light them. They are not that important for the scene. Maybe not in this example, you would think realistically they have to be a lot brighter. But we don't light for realism, we light for telling a story. And these people are just this important for the story, because it revolves around this woman. So don't light anything that is not important to the scene. As you can see, they probably shut down all the lights because we want the most control, but they let here a little bit of light come through, because maybe it will look too flat. So that's the reason they put a little bit of light through here. Maybe that gives a little bit of motivation from the light coming from here. So that's perfectly fine. So let's switch to the close-up shot. As you can see, the light is still coming from this direction, but now we are a lot softer. Not that soft. As you can see on the nose shadow, we still have a long nose shadow, but the source got a lot bigger. They probably put a 6x6 or an 8x8, most probably an 8x8 butterfly with half grid claws maybe, and shoot a light through it. So why didn't we make this light a lot softer, maybe with a fill light or something else? It's the art, or it has to resemble a lot of these statues from ancient Rome or something like that. And they have a really hard, surreal feeling. So if this was too much beauty, it wouldn't feel like this old times, maybe. This is something I can think about, or maybe that's the old paintings most of the time only had one big key light, as you can see, because this is also most of the time this was a painting would look like, and this whole scenery is a painting someone would do in the past. So they try to replicate this lighting look. The reason why this light looks soft, even though it's not soft, is when you're shooting female actors in music videos, you do a lot of beauty retouch. You soften the skin, you lift up the shadows. So probably the contrast on this image on the raw footage is a lot higher. So, but what you do in these music videos is you really mask out the actors. So with today we do a magic mask or a death mask, drop the background down and do a lot of beauty retouch, soften the skin and lift the shadows. They hate shadows. Female artists hate shadows. Yeah? This is another part from music video, and I really like the shot because now we have hard light and use it really nicely. Because what a lot of people think about it in lighting ratios is that these skin tones would be too high. Most of the people putting their skin tones around 40 to 60 IRE. That's the range most people use on false color for skin tones. But we are artists. We can do what we want. So I really like the feeling of hard light hitting someone. And this probably ranges about 80 RE in this area. And also on the background. Because lighting in these kinds of sceneries is simple. Because you just light like the scene would look. So there's huge windows. So the light has to come from there. So what we will do is we put a big light on the outside, because it wouldn't look good if the light is inside. Most of the time you try to light from outside, because that's where the light came from. So you put a light outside, shine it through the whole scene. It has to be a big light, M40, something like that, or something more modern, like 2400 aperture or Godox or something like that, and just straight up shoot at the actor. This is at daytime probably. We have a little bit of ambience, so you will expose for this kind of skin tones and then boost the other side with the light. Then the most important part also is most cinematographers at their beginning only light the actor, but that's only half of the story. You have also to light the background, and most of the time it's enough just a straight up swipe shaft of light across the wall to create this nice points of interest. Always try to make a little bit of interest into the background. That gives the image a lot more depth and quality. Try to watch the next ad break, look at all the shots. You will always see something similar like this on the background, because this is what your image gives the next three-dimensional feeling. I told you in a lot of cinematography breakdowns, think on your image, think about layers. Dark side, one layer, bright side, one layer, dark side, one layer, bright side, one layer, dark side, one layer. So, and as much more layers you can create, the more depth you can get. Here could also be something in the foreground which is dark to get another layer. So for this scene, I think they did a great job with choosing the light levels. It really feels, this hard light also feels a bit premium. This is not something you can do without shooting on a high dynamic range camera. You have to use your log, because when you shoot on a neutral camera setting like this, you don't have the latitude to create this three-dimensional look. Also, when you do something like this, try to put some filters. Promise a little bit better for darker scene. Glimmer filter is something you can use that will round up and soft up a little bit of the highlights and give you a more premium feeling. Done for the last shot, we look at this beauty setting. That's something a lot of photographers would do, and it's actually pretty easy to do. As you can see in the spectral highlight, we have only one key light. And what this key light is most of the time a beauty dish or a big Febreze light. This is this light that you a lot see in photo commercials, big umbrellas. And you put it around this area and shoot it at your subject. It will give you the most beauty light feeling and flat feeling. When you look at the shoulders, we have backlight on both sides. So that means we have two hard sources also in the background, shining on the shoulders, on the face. But what they also do is, you cannot see it because you're putting a face, hands on her face. To get a little bit more contrast, you will put two big negative fills right between her face to create a little bit of shadow in these areas to get an even more three-dimensional look. So, and with this light, your big beauty dish, you can create easy a look like this. But also here, this is something that will only pop in post. So you have to nail your skin tones, you have to nail the exposure, you have to nail the color on the background, because we have really nice color contrast. It's classic orange teal, but there are so many variations of orange teal. This one I think looks really good because it's natural. It's not on your face or this is orange and this is blue. It just looks natural. So that's it, my friends. If you like the cinematography breakdown, I really would appreciate a subscription from you. My name is Marco Bagnoli and we'll see you next time.